Hey there, guys. This is Cole. Welcome back to another review. I'm gonna have to restart this video, but just bumped a button by mistake. But hopefully it doesn't happen again. But anyways, this is Cole. Welcome to the first movie review I'm gonna be doing for Christmas season. This video will premiere on December 1st, but today's Christmas classic I'm going to be reviewing, as you can tell by the title of today's video, is, of course, Miracle on 34th Street, which I own on DVD right here. Now, I got this movie pretty cheap on DVD last year, and this is a movie that I had heard good things about, but just didn't get around to watching until now, and I know there was a remake of this movie in the 1990s, and again, I forget the name of the kid actor, but the kid actor who played the main kid in the Tim Allen movie, The Santa Claus, he played the lead kid in it, which I've heard good things about the 90s version, although I have not yet. Well, I might have seen that version when I was younger, but I honestly can't remember, but I know for a fact I've seen The Santa Claus, and that is a good movie, but yeah, this movie, when it was released in 1947, was a well-received film, and all these decades later is still considered a Christmas classic. And I could definitely see why. I thought that this was a really well-done movie. But anyways, so the plot of this movie, for those who don't know, is as follows. The holiday season is in full swing when a cultured gentleman with twinkling eyes and an ample belly and a snowy beard, Kris Kringle, played by Edmund Gwenn, aka Santa Claus, is hired as Macy's department store Santa. He claims his name is Kris Kringle and soon fills everyone with Christmas spirit, except for his boss Doris Walker, played by Maureen O'Hara, who's raising her daughter, played by Natalie Wood, to not believe in Santa. But when Kringle is declared insane and put on trial, everyone's faith is put to the test, as young and old alike face the age-old question, do you believe in Santa Claus? So that's basically the plot of this movie. And what I really like about this movie is, this movie is meant to be, of course, as you can tell by the title, it's meant to be a movie about miracles, but it's also meant to be a movie that, kind of puts you in the, it's meant to put the audience in their shoes, to have faith. And I think the movie does a good job executing that message. And this movie's got a really good cast, I especially like this version of Santa Claus, I especially like the actor who played Santa Claus in this movie, Edmund Gwenn, who I'm not familiar with in other movies, but because I haven't really seen him in anything else, but I thought he did a really good job here, and I thought he fit the role really well. But so yeah, the movie starts off where we're introduced to this girl named Gwen Walker, who is the daughter of Doris Walker, who basically doesn't believe in Santa Claus because, her mom has basically raised her to not believe in Santa Claus because, well, that's how Doris was raised as a kid, and she believes the same must be carried on to her child and stuff like that. But we're introduced to a character named Greg who he's of the belief that Santa's real and stuff like that. But throughout the course of the movie, it's a movie about faith and stuff like that. And, and what I really like about this movie, I thought that this was, not only was this a well-done movie with a good message, but I thought that this was a really well-directed movie. This movie was directed by a guy named George Seaton, who I'm not familiar with as a director, but I thought he did a really good job in the director's chair. And I thought, for a movie that came out in the 1940s, I think that the acting is really good in this movie. It's, especially for the time that it had come out. And this movie came out only a year after It's a Wonderful Life. And as much as now, do not get me wrong, It's a Wonderful Life is a great movie. It is a Christmas classic, but I'm not sure because I've only seen them once, so I would have to rewatch them again before I can answer the question, but I think I might like this slightly more. And the reason I say that is because It's a Wonderful Life is a great movie, but I don't know, just there's something about this one that I just liked a little more. mainly because of the actor playing Santa Claus in this movie. And, throughout the course of the movie, obviously the mother does not believe in Santa Claus, but at the 30-minute mark of the movie, Doris Walker, the mother, basically, asks Santa a few questions. In fact, just to make sure that he's actually genuine, because the guy claims he's a guy named Kris Kringle. So basically, Doris asked, she basically asked the front desk to see this guy's, government issued ID. Well, basically an identification type of paper, and well, everything checks out, and Doris sees that he is labeled as Kris Kringle, and then she has a puzzled look on her face and stuff like that. But throughout the course of the movie, like I said, the daughter doesn't really believe in Santa, but throughout the course of the movie, she starts to believe that Santa, is real and stuff like that. And I like the part where about 43 minutes into the movie, she basically, the little girl basically asks Santa Claus to give her a really nice house for Christmas. And I'm talking a rather nice house, especially for one that was in the 1940s and stuff like that. And, and Santa Claus says, I will try my best to get it for you and stuff like that. And however, I like the part when, this is a little later on in the movie, Kris Kringle, aka Santa Claus, is basically sitting at a table, talking to this kid, and basically the doctor, and he basically finds out that, that the kid was basically the Santa Claus. He finds out that the doctor who has a medical license for, diagnosing people and stuff like that, who interviewed Santa or Kris Kringle earlier on in the movie, because the mother did not believe that he was Santa Claus, but yet Kris Kringle got every question right. The doctor, the supposed doctor, just lied and said, nope, he failed the test and everything. And close to about, I would say, roughly 55 minutes into the movie, maybe a little before then, Kris Kringle begins to question the doctor, knowing that he's a fake and he's a phony, which that actually is illegal to have a fake doctor's license. And then I like the part when he's like, you're done, and then are you gonna leave now? And Kris Kringle says yes, and then before he leaves, he just basically takes a cane, and he doesn't hit him violently with it, but he just gives him a little smack on the head, causing a bump, and then the doctor falls in his chair. But then Kris Kringle leaves the room, and so the wife, and so the mother of the kid, Doris Walker, as well as George, as well as Greg, walk into the room, concerned about the doctor's big head. And because the doctor's basically, he's basically a piece of crap, pretending that Santa did it, and because we all know that this version of Santa would never hurt anyone, but he's trying to make it look like that Santa went all crazy to basically frame him. So yeah, the doctor is an absolute jerk in this movie. But anyways, and heck, even there are some kids that have Y sense in this movie, because the doctor has a lawyer, well, kind of a lawyer, who basically put Santa on trial. And I like the part when later on in the movie, that this lawyer who's working for this fake doctor, he basically asks his grandkids to give him a hug goodnight, and then the kids just walk away, and he's like, well, that's rude. And then I like the part when his wife says to him, well, that's what you get for putting Santa on trial. So he basically got his karma. And then in the movie, there's the whole trial thing, and Greg is trying to prove, hey, that this Santa, that this guy really is Santa Claus and stuff like that. But obviously, the main antagonist of the movie, the fake doctor, he's just trying to deny it and stuff like that. However, at the end of the movie, the case is closed, and it's proven that this guy is Santa, because hundreds of letters are just dumped on the judge's desk, all signed from Santa Claus, and and it's proven that he's innocent and stuff, that Kris Kringle is innocent and stuff like that. And the movie ends on a happy note where the little girl didn't well, we're almost there, but the little girl's happy about the presents, but she's sad that at the end of the movie that, you know, Santa wasn't able to quite give her the house she wanted. But then I like the scene when the mother says to her, well, uh, just because you didn't get it this time means that, you know, do not stop believing. If you do not stop believing, you'll eventually get it. And the daughter's like, oh, so kind of like, if you fail once, try again until you succeed. So that's basically the message of the movie. And I think that this movie does a really good job executing that message. And then the movie ends where the mother and, you know, and her husband are, mother and the George, the guy that she's dating, is driving the car. And then her mom stops the car as the daughter opens the car door, gets out, running to a house that has nothing in it. The house is sold out. And the mother's like, dear, you know you can't just go running into people's houses. And the daughter's cheering, you were right, Mom, you were right. You know, you basically told me if at first I didn't get what I wanted, to keep believing, and I got what I wanted and stuff like that. And it's a very heartwarming ending. So yeah, at the end of the day, I thought that this was a really well done movie. I'm glad I watched it. I will definitely, this is a movie that I would not mind throwing this on every December. But yeah, this was overall really good, and I honestly don't see any problems with this movie. So I'm going to give this movie a perfect 10 out of 10. So anyways, guys, that was my review on Miracle on 34th Street, and next up, we'll tackle some more Christmas stuff. But until then, bye-bye now. And Merry Christmas. Well, early Christmas, but yeah.